Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, The Brain-Body Connection, Why Exercise Matters in Parkinson's. I'm Donna Greening, Parkinson Canada's Education and Program Innovation Coordinator. Parkinson Canada acknowledges that we are located on the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territories of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. We respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to live, work, and learn here. We recognize the need for programs, advocacy, and research by and for Indigenous people living with and affected by Parkinson's, and commit to growing partnerships with Indigenous leaders to develop our understanding and support. If you would like to access closed captioning, you can click on the CC Captions button and then click on Show Subtitle. American Sign Language interpretation is available during this webinar as well. To access the ASL channel, you can click on the interpretation icon that looks like a globe at the bottom of your screen, then select American Sign Language under the Watch option. We're always grateful for the expert speakers who join us to share their knowledge during our webinars. If you have questions about today's topic after the conclusion of the webinar, please contact your healthcare provider or Parkinson Canada's support and information team. There's no need to take any notes during the webinar. We'll be sending everyone a link to the webinar recording along with hyperlinks to resources. If you have questions for the speakers, they're to be typed into the Q&A tab found at the bottom of your webinar window. We are not selecting questions from the chat window. That chat window is there for you to say hello and talk amongst yourselves. And when the webinar ends, we hope you'll take a moment to fill out our short survey that we use to evaluate our programming, ensuring that we're delivering content that's relevant to the Parkinson's community. Now, let's get started. Duncan Campbell is a retired elementary school teacher and cycling enthusiast for over 40 years. His journey with Parkinson's started with inconsistent, unexplained leg cramping while cycling that eventually led to his Parkinson's diagnosis in 2020. He's always been extremely active, participating in numerous team and individual sports over the decades, with cycling being his first love, and coaching after-school sports at his local school in his retirement. For the past 3 years, Duncan has fundraised for and participated in Parkinson Canada's Prince Edward County Pedaling for Parkinson's event and is looking forward to his first growling beaver brevet next month. For Duncan, getting on his bike is akin to medicine. It keeps his body and mind active, challenged, and engaged, and provides him with opportunities to collect, organize, and evaluate his thoughts. Welcome, Duncan.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you, Donna, for that introduction. As you heard, exercise and physical activity have been an integral part of my life for my whole life. I've always been very physically active, starting from when I was a kid, continued through my teen years and into my 20s, and now I'm into my 60s. I'm still trying to be active as I can. For me, physical activity and exercise, it's kind of how I identify myself. I'm an athlete, even though I'm 60 and have PD, I'm still an athlete. I like to participate in things. I like to be involved. And that's probably the most frustrating part about getting Parkinson's is because it attacks literally that, my ability to do those things. So I've had to work around it, and that's what I'd like to share with you. Physical activity and exercise always gave me a sense of control, a sense of confidence, and allowed me to deal with the challenges in life. It was my happy place. It still is my happy place, and it was my stress release. Cycling, as you heard, was my favorite thing. I've been doing that for over 40 years. I really enjoy cycling because it allows me to push myself. I like to see the world at a slower pace than driving by in a car, and being on a bike allows me to do that. And cycling was always the thing I did if I was having problem solving issues, or I was upset about something, or I needed to have a long think about something. I'd get on my bike and I'd go. And that part of my my body that wanted to be active, wanted to be moving, had something to do, and that freed up my mind to think and look around and see things that are around. That changed in 2015 when I first got my symptoms, as was mentioned by Donna. And that took almost 4 years before I was finally diagnosed in 2020 to figure out what it was, because I confused it, and my health professionals on my team kind of confused them for overuse injuries, but they became more frequent and became odd. Things like when I brushed my teeth, my left hand would float up to my midsection of my body, and I didn't understand why, and it would just do it on its own. The really big game changer for me after I was diagnosed was medication. Before then, I was very frustrated. The thing that I loved to do the most was the thing that gave me the most frustration. So meeting my neurologist, starting on medication, and then over the next 3 years after that, little tweaks to it here and there, finding out what worked for me, what didn't work for me. Once we finally got it, then I felt I had that confidence back again. I knew what my body was like. I knew how to manage it, and that allowed me to get back being physically active and exercising in the way I wanted to. So medication was huge towards that. Another key thing that helped me transition to being an athlete with Parkinson's is I had to change my mindset. I was that typical guy that was no pain, no gain. Everything I did, I tried to do as hard as I could, as fast as I could. And I would record things and write down my heart rate and how many kilometers I went and all that. That had to go. My mindset then had to be transferred into something that was more of a, I have to listen to my body. I have to go by feel. How am I doing that day? How am I responding to my medication? How are my muscles responding to the medication? And that would be part of my plan for the day, and that would lead me in my plan for the day. So by doing that, going on feel, you have to be prepared for those days that you have on days and off days. Anybody with Parkinson's will tell you they know exactly what an on day and an off day feels like. On the on days, the medication's working. You feel like yourself, you feel more in control, and you can do those things that you love to do. Off days, things aren't clicking. One of the things I found was to be open to trying new things. When I was diagnosed, it was during COVID. So what I did was I looked up, what can I do for myself? What kind of activities, what things can I do to help myself? And I saw the idea of doing exercises and activities that involve large muscle groups. And everything had to be big and loud, they said. So I would do those kind of things, and I'd look them up. I was never big on yoga or Tai Chi or anything like that, but I was kind of interested, like most people were during COVID, on trying something new. So I watched thousands of videos on the two of them. And out of them, I picked, I like this activity. I like this stretch in yoga. Oh, I like the idea of this breathing technique. I like the idea of this stretch. I like the idea of this movement, this nice slow movement. And out of that, I developed my own little yoga Tai Chi morning assessment, I call it. So I get up in the morning, get my medication in me, have my breakfast, feel my medication start coming in, and then I do this routine. I use that as a self-assessment every day. It tells me, okay, how am I responding to my meds? Am I sore from the previous day's activities I've done? Am I feeling on? Am I feeling off? And then based on that self-evaluation and self-assessment, that defines what I'm going to do that day. So I'll give you an example. I live in cottage country. I have a large property that's on a hill, lots of steps, lots of things to do to move around. So just doing chores around here is quite physical. So say I woke up one morning and did my whole self-assessment, and my plan that day, I was going to go for a 40-kilometer bike ride. and maybe I do one of my chores, get up on the ladder, stuff falling from the trees all the time. I need to check the eaves troughs. So I wake up that morning, do the whole thing. I'm feeling a little off. I'm not quite confident in my ability to be coordinated because my Parkinson's is on my left side only right now. So I become very uncoordinated and I have trouble with balance when I'm off. So I'm feeling off. Well, 40-kilometer bike ride, there's a lot of bounce on there. I'm going to have to go on roads with cars. I don't feel quite as confident. Okay, I'm not doing that one now. So I'm going to change that. I still want to do something though. I want to adapt my plan, and adapting your plan is key. Doing something's better than doing nothing. So I'll change it to, well, I like to hike, and hiking involves me watching each step, stepping over roots, planning a way I'm going. It forces me to slow down, forces me to focus on where I'm going, focus on my body and how it's reacting. And it's still outside. I'm still out in nature. Maybe I put my phone in my pocket with an earbud and listen to some nice music, or not have that and just listen to the birds and all that, and go out for a hike or a walk. So I'm still doing something. It's not a 40-kilometer bike ride. I'll table that for later. I'll do that on another day when I'm feeling on. The eaves troughs. I'm not going to do the eaves troughs. I'm not going up on a ladder when I'm not feeling confident in how my body's feeling. So I will change that. I get the leaf blower out because there's always something falling from the trees. There's always something on the property on the ground. And I can easily walk around holding on to that leaf blower. And it's a job that needs to get done every couple of days anyway. It's going to get me outside again. It's going to get me active. And it's going to get a job done that I know confidently I can do that day. And I'm not putting myself in a situation where I might get hurt or fall or do something that causes me to be even less active the next day because I have an injury. So that's something that it's a mindset you have to have, that I would encourage people to have, of yes, you can plan. And I am the biggest planner in the world. My wife will tell you. I have my whole day planned out every night before I go to bed. But you have to be willing to adapt the plan to see what's going to work for you then. Another mindset I have is it's acceptance with defiance. We have Parkinson's. It's not going to go away. It's progressive. There's nothing I can do to stop that. But that doesn't mean I have to let it define me. That's the defiance part. If I can do something to help myself, if I can communicate with my neurologist better, to understand what's going on with me, and we can look at my medication and possibly change it. If I can talk to my physiotherapist and find exercises I can do with bands or whatever to prepare my body for the things I like to do, I'll do that. I'm sorry. I thought I had my phone turned off. So that's how I handle physical activity, exercise, and my Parkinson's. Thank you very much for listening. Back to you, Donna.
Thank you, Duncan. Hearing that you assess and listen to how your body's feeling every day and then adjust your plans accordingly is really great advice. And I see in the comment section that that when you said that doing something is better than doing nothing, it's really resonating with our viewers. We're now going to move on to our keynote speaker. Orla Hares has over 20 years of experience as a registered physiotherapist. She is Irish and studied in the United Kingdom and then came to Canada over 11 years ago. In addition to her role as assistant clinical professor adjunct at the School of Rehabilitation Science at McMaster University, Orla has worked with the Parkinson's community for years. She's the founder of the Parkinson's Wellness Innovation Center in Hamilton, Ontario. This center provides classes, support groups, rehabilitation, PD warrior challenges, Smovie rings, and power dance and Pilates classes, as well as one-on-one treatments. Having just completed a research study in photo biomodulation, Orla likes to bring innovative and new ideas to the management of Parkinson's. Along with her team, Orla can be found in person in Hamilton or online. Welcome, Orla.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to share the screen to get us going already. Just with the sheer number of registrations for this webinar, we know that exercise is a very popular topic. And I do hope that we can answer everybody's questions by going through this webinar today. We are going to be looking at different things today. So we're going to be looking at the brain and just seeing how and learning how it functions. We're going to look at your exercise. We're going to understand how Parkinson's disease affects you, what some of the effects actually happen, so some of your symptoms. We're going to look at the science behind the brain-body connection. There's some exercise interventions as well. So we are going to do a tiny amount of exercise today. We're going to look at the evidence and the approaches to that too. And then we're going to see how physio fits into that, some of the new technology, some of the new research that's been happening for exercise. And then we'll try and put it all together in our conclusions. So because it's the body-brain connection, we're going to look and meet the brain. Your brain is made up of all of this neural tissue. And as you can see on the screen, it's filled with neural tissue, and all of these neural pathways can be changed. It can be made better. You can protect them, and you can do that through some exercise. In the brain, you have 4 different areas that we're really going to be focusing on. There's the cerebrum, your cerebellum, your limbic system, and the brainstem. I know that this has been cut off, but we'll go into some of these details. This is the cerebrum. The cerebrum has a frontal area. It's the pink area that's here on the screen. This frontal area contains your personality, and it helps with inhibition and actions. Like the compulsive behaviors, it stops some of those. Next, you have your parietal lobe. So this processes sensory information like your touch. And the right parietal lobe will get your left side of your body going, the right side of your body, the left side of your parietal lobe. So vice versa, there's a cross connection. The temporal side, which is this blue one, the blue one, you have it processes all of your auditory information and memory encoding. So as you're listening to me, this temporal lobe is being fired up and being activated, and you're listening and encoding some of that information that you're hearing. The temporal lobe also does your language comprehension, and it looks at your recognition for the object and face recognitions as well. The occipital bone at the back, so the yellow section, you have a direct link to the optic nerves. So anything that your eyes are seeing will get straight into that occipital area and then get processed through the brain to what you're actually seeing. All of this within the cerebrum goes into the brain, gets mixed up, and then it helps to get that output out to get an action going. In the cerebellum is called the little brain. It's really good for your coordination. It's got your cognitive function. It's got your motor learning. This area has about 50% of all of that information that comes into your brain, gets mixed around in your brain, all happens within the cerebellum. And the cerebellum is also really good for your balance connections as well. And this is something that we do in therapy, is looking at all of those balance connections. The limbic system. So this limbic system is, is another area of the brain. Again, it looks at your emotions and your behavior, and it regulates all of the feelings and the actions that you get. The memory and the learning side of things, your hippocampus, it's crucial for forming new memories and associating them with senses and experiences. And then you have your survival drives in here too, which are essential for survival, including your hunger, your thirst, the sexual arousal, the fight or flight responses. And then you have your automatic functions, which are part of the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus regulates bodily functions such as heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature. And, we do tap into all of these different areas in different ways. Now, the main area that we really focus on is the brainstem. This brainstem controls your autonomic functions. It controls your breathing, your heart rate, blood pressure, sleep, swallow. It's a communication hub between the brain and the body and the brain. So whatever happens in your body sends sensory information through that brainstem up into the brain, where it's spread out into different areas of the brain, processed, and then sent back down through that brainstem down into the body. The brainstem also controls your cranial nerves, so anything with your face. And it also has the substantia nigra, which is what we're really focused on today. So the basal ganglia, again, it's a nice little area right in the deep of the brain. You can see it here. It's all in orange on this diagram. It contains your substantia nigra, the subthalamic nucleus, and the basal ganglia. So the substantia nigra, it's anterior midbrain, which means it's in the front of the middle part of your brain, so midbrain. It produces dopamine. So the neurons within that midbrain, within the substantia nigra, produce dopamine. And when you lose this dopamine, this is where you start to get some of your symptoms of the Parkinson's. It's some of those neurons are very vital for your motor control, the reward, and motivation as well. Subthalamic nucleus, part of these circuits that control and inhibit movement. Again, this can really work with your festination of gait. If you freeze as you get going, you just keep going. This one is where we really start to activate you and to work on if you have some of those issues. The basal ganglia, it regulates and fine-tunes motor commands, the executive functioning, and emotional behavior. So again, as we are exercising, all of these basal ganglia, the subthalamic nucleus, and the substantia nigra are all being activated in different ways, and you get a different motor output when we've activated them in the right way. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of movement, just a couple of minutes, just to try and wake up both sides of our hemisphere and help with some of the learning that we're going to do today. So to do this, I'm going to stop sharing so that you can see me a little bit more. And then I should be a little bit bigger on your screen. Okay, so as you're doing this, you're just going to look at me as I'm doing some of the exercises. If I say my right side, it's probably your left as a mirror image. It's entirely up to you about what we do. Again, you can just see my upper half, so we're just going to use our hands. But I'm going to use touch, which is then our parietal lobe. Okay, so we're going to touch your nose, okay? And you're going to get your thumb out to the side. I'm going to get a different camera on here so that you might be able to see me, okay? So your thumb is out to the side, you're going to touch your nose. And then you're going to swap. Touch your nose with your index finger, thumb out onto the other side. So then you're going to swap again. And then swap. Keep going. 2 more. Nose and thumb out. There you go, last one. Touch your nose, come all the way back. Good. Now we're going to get your tongue going because this is coordination, dual tasking. As we touch your nose, okay, you're now going to get your tongue into the same side of your cheek. So you're going to go tongue into the inside of your cheek, and you're going to use your eyes for the occipital region. Eyes look at your thumb out to the side. Okay, so there's a lot of different things happening here. So again, swap. Tongue into the same side of that you're touching your nose with. Eyes out to where your thumb is. Okay, do one more. There you go, and then last one. Ready? Good. And then relax. Okay, we're just going to get our hands going. Okay, we're going to do 3 of these. We're going to open your hands out nice and big and really stretch them out, exaggerate them. This is our amplitude. And we're going to pull it all the way back nice and strong. You ready? Big push all the way out in front of you. Pull it all the way back. 2 more. Big push. Pull it all the way back. Last one. Big push. Pull it all the way back. Nice. Okay. We're going to go back into our screen. Again, you might feel some of that dopamine going where you feel a little bit more alive. Okay. We're going to share the screen. In here, we have, where are we going? Here we go. Okay, so now we're going to start getting into the nitty-gritty of the Parkinson's disease and its effects. It's again, it's a motor symptom of, it's a motor area that is sometimes really affected when you are lacking that dopamine. So the disease is primarily caused by the loss of the dopamine producing neurons. Those neurons are a lot less, and then you're not getting enough dopamine within your system. Some of the symptoms that you do get are the motor symptoms. You get this tremor, hypokinesia, which is the fine, small motor movements, the bradykinesia, where you're moving a lot slower, the freezing of gait, and then maybe falls and agility issues. Also tremor, which can come first. You have the non-motor symptoms. You have your depression, anxiety, bladder constipation issues. You have lack of motivation. You have sleep disturbances and fatigue. And again, not everybody has all of this. Some people have one, not others. It's really dependent on an individual. There's the wheel. So some of the current treatment options are your medication. And as Duncan alluded to, medications are super important to help you feel a lot better so that you can get the most out of your exercises. And we do recommend that you are on or feel like you're on to get the most out of your exercises. And then you don't end up being as frustrated by trying to do something and it's a really big struggle. The physical therapy side of things is very crucial to improve mobility and managing some of your symptoms. And we can be very specific on how we help you to do that. Lifestyle changes, as Duncan again mentioned, lifestyle changes are super important. Incorporate them, get your exercise and diet, and try and help yourself to manage so that your medication can be as good as they possibly can be. We have some of the science behind the actual body-brain connection. So to try and keep your attention as part of this webinar, I've put a video together. It's only 2 minutes long. This is why I did the exercise before, to fire up your brain and to keep you engaged. It does help us to explain why exercise is important for Parkinson's disease. And again, I will summarize all of that afterwards.
Ever wondered what happens to the brain when you exercise, especially for those with Parkinson's disease? Let's dive into the fascinating realm where movement meets neurology. Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder marked by tremors, stiffness, and slowed movement, primarily caused by a lack of dopamine. But here's where exercise works its magic. When you engage in physical activity, your brain sets off a cascade of beneficial biochemical changes. One of the key players in this process is neuroplasticity, which is the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Through regular exercise, neuroplasticity is enhanced, paving the way for improved motor functions and even cognitive benefits for those battling Parkinson's. Exercise also contributes to neurorestoration, or the revival of nerve functionality. It promotes the secretion of crucial growth factors and proteins, such as brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which supports the survival of existing neurons and encourages the growth of new ones. This is vital for repairing the brain cells that get damaged as Parkinson's advances. Finally, we have neuroprotection. What makes this possible? The hormones and chemicals released during physical activities, like dopamine and norepinephrine, help defend the brain against further degeneration. In addition, regular physical activity increases the production of anti-inflammatory cytokines. By reducing brain inflammation, these molecules further protect against neuron damage, providing a holistic protective shield. Famed for their feel-good effect, endorphins are also secreted, which also boost mood and enhance concentration. These neurochemicals not only alleviate some symptoms of Parkinson's, but also help slow down the overall progression of the disease. By embracing exercise, those with Parkinson's can tap into the power of neuroplasticity, enjoy the benefits of neurorestoration, and strengthen their neuroprotection. So, whether it's a brisk walk, a session of Tai Chi, or a dance class, remember, the most important step you take is the step towards activity. With each move, you aren't just exercising your body, you're healing your brain. Ever wondered what happens to the brain?
Okay. So this one, as we said, is a lot of different things happening as you exercise. Again, the neurotransmitter that the dopamine is actually a neurotransmitter. This facilitates your smooth exercise, your smooth motor functions, and it's really essential for that to actually happen. Exercise can modulate the neurotransmitter actual levels and the receptor sensitivity. So the neurons that the dopamine has to attach onto, that sensitivity is improved on, and more dopamine can attach onto more of the neurons. Exercise really does impact all of the neurotransmitters. They've done a lot of research to show that, and it does improve some of the motor control. The neuroplasticity and neuroprotection, these are key words. This shows how the brain can change, the brain can reorganize itself. You get neuroprotection exercises or benefits. The neuroprotection stops the neurons from degenerating, and then you can get the dopamine to attach onto them, the inflammation reduction, and then the mitochondrial function as well. The mitochondrial function is stimulated in different ways as well as exercise, but we have shown a different way too, and I'll allude to that in a little bit. So the role of the exercise in managing Parkinson's disease. When we are doing this, we know that exercise can reduce some of the rigidity that you have. It can enhance cognitive function, and it promotes the emotional well-being. Your rigidity that you have, it can reduce rigidity, leading to greater flexibility and comfort in daily movements. This means that you can move a lot better, you can move a lot easier, and some of the exercises or some of the movements and the functional issues that you have feel a lot easier to be able to do them. It enhances your cognitive function. Again, as I showed you earlier, by doing two different things with your hands, touching your nose, you're firing up your brain cells in a different way, and this can enhance your cognitive function. It promotes emotional well-being. Support groups and group activities are really emotionally helpful to you and reduces the feelings of depression and anxiety. So some of the types of exercise shown to be at benefit Parkinson's disease. The photo that you see right now is our dance fit class. It's not the dance with Parkinson's, but it is a dance class. Very high activity, but everybody loves it, and it's very aerobic. So you get all of these aerobic exercise benefits. You have resistance training benefits, and there's balance exercise benefits. And depending on what you want to be able to achieve, there's different type of exercises that you can do. If we look at some of the aerobic exercises, you have anything aerobic is anything that gets your heart rate up. So it can help with your heart health, it helps with your gut health, and helps with your mental health. As you can see, the bikes are here with the spinning wheels group that were just here from Hamilton to Toronto. They're cycling all last weekend. Again, a very high aerobic exercise. There's rock steady boxing, there's walking, swimming, cycling. All very helpful, all good at brain retraining and helping to get the dopamine flowing to protect those neurons. You get customization for individuals. Aerobic exercises can be tailored to meet your individual capabilities and fitness levels. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey with Parkinson's or your journey of where you are with exercise. If you've never done exercise before, anything is going to help. We just need to try and find the right one that will work for you. We have strength training. Now, this is Aaron. Aaron's our volunteer at the Rock Steady Boxing. He is incredibly strong and gets everybody hitting him when he has these pads on. Really good for strength training. You have a lot of muscle mass maintenance, so it helps you to stay strong so you can then functionally be able to do things at home like lift and carry something, like you have to move your lawnmower, if you have to pick up your dog to walk up and down the hallway, or a cat. You can do that if we can help you maintain your strength. We can also help to focus on major muscle groups as well if you need that. It depends on the individual, it depends on the issue, but it can be very specific for you. There's also a lot of training tools that you can use, like resistance bands or weights, or even just body weighted activities that help you to build your strength. And you can do them anywhere, at home, at the gym, community centers, in classes, in groups, or individually. Flexibility and balance exercises. This can be very different for somebody with Parkinson's disease, depending on the issue. So some people may have freezing of gait that will cause some of the falls, some of the hesitation that you might have when you are exercising. But overall, balance exercises and flexibility exercises help to improve your coordination. It reduces the risk of falls and enhances most of your mobility. So it allows you to stay as independent as possible. It also challenges your cerebellum, and it challenges your brain to work in a certain way when you coordinate some of these other exercises. And you can see the bottom photo down in there. We have somebody on bosso balls while juggling one of our reactive balls. The physio side of things is something that a lot of people tend to miss out on. That's just purely because we don't have enough physiotherapists that are trained to manage Parkinson's disease as well as they possibly could. Yes, they can help you to build strength. They can help you to build activities when you have an injury as well. You know, physiotherapists are incredibly important. But a physiotherapist that is trained for management of Parkinson's disease can elevate your journey so that you feel a lot better. Physiotherapy programs are individualized. We make it very specific for you as an individual of what might be happening for yourself, whether it is your slowness of movement, whether it is your hypokinesia, your small movements, whether it is freezing of gait, whether it is just your you have lots and lots of falls, or whether you want to work on a functional goal like getting on and off the floor, on and off chairs, toilets, or in and out of cars. How do we do this? Physiotherapy for Parkinson's disease really are based on the high intensity exercises. So you have the programs like the PD Warrior, the Power Moves, the LSVT Big. It's all high intensity exercises that improve mobility and then counteract those symptoms. We are amplitude based. So when I got you to exercise before, I got you to open your hands out. Now I want you to try that again, but really focus, be intentional about it, and really open the hand out. Use your eyes, which is going to get your occipital bone again, to open that hand out. Look at it, retrain it. You're going to get all of this neuroplasticity going, and things like that help to overcome your rigidity and your slowness, and neuroplasticity of the brain. It also enhances motor function. So again, it's the daily activities and it's the functional activities that we really focus on so that you can then go to all of your other exercise classes and get the most out of them to help maintain you. We have future directions. There's a lot of information about what exercise to do, how to exercise, and when to exercise. What we do know when we do exercise, it's the high intensity ones, the aerobic exercises. The Sparks one with the biking has shown to really improve your motor function when you are exercising. You have to be consistent. So do something. Just like Duncan said, change your plan that day. If you're going to do something that is high level, but you don't feel up for it, let's try and go do something else. I do see some of the chat. Swimming is beneficial. It can get you in the water. You can use the buoyancy to help, or you can use the resistance to make it a little bit harder. It enhances your cognitive performance. Yes, it does. It gets your dopamine going. So it gets all of your neural pathways in that brain fired up and activated to help with your mental sharpness. It also helps with your better quality of life. Integrating physical activity into your care plan is super important to help you stay as well as you possibly can and reduce some of the risk of the symptoms that you may get. In this age of AI and technologies, there's a wealth of tools that are now being developed, particularly in the last 5 to 7 years. These are some of them. Some of these wearable devices will help you track some of your symptoms. It will help you track your cardiovascular health. It will help you track your sleep. And you will be able to see over time if something is working for you or not. It helps to just keep you motivated. And then it will help you to discuss that with your care team so that you can make changes to your life and adapt as you need to. On the screen, you see different things like the Aura Ring up on the left. You have My Moves Matter. It's a PD app that will help you track your medication, your symptoms. The PD Buddy is the same thing. The American Parkinson's Disease Association also have tracking devices as well. You have your Apple watches, your Fitbit watches. You have lots of different things available now to help you track things. And again, it's when to use them and how to use them can be a little bit harder. But as some of our individuals say, ask your grandkids. They probably know more and can help you as well. You have different innovations. Again, for science, you have a lot of the virtual reality. You have robotics. You have exoskeletons that can help. You have little Q2Walks. You have pathfinders. There's so many different pieces of technology to help you achieve what you need to achieve. Sometimes we don't need to be afraid of them, but actually embrace all of these different technologies so you can get the most out of it and help you achieve that neuroplasticity and that brain retraining that you're looking for. You have so again, the digital wearable solutions. We have the Beach Band, which is a new fad that has come out of the UK. Is it working? Don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. Again, it's fairly new. We need to see that. The Q1 is another one that, again, causes vibrations into the body, helps stimulate your neural system, and provides improvement in your gait. I did have to get the red light therapy in here. Meet Joe, everybody. He's quite happy to actually introduce himself, Captain Grandpa. Photobiomodulation or red light therapy warrants a different webinar, but preliminary results from our trial does show improvement in our walking cognition and anxiety. There is less of a progression of your symptoms when you use red light therapy over time. Okay, to stay motivated and consistent with your exercise, set a goal, set achievable goals, and make a dream goal. With PD Warrior, you have what's called a dumb goals. You have a dream goal, one thing that you really want to be able to achieve. Maybe it's go to Nepal and be on a hike. Maybe it's walk down the street. It's up to you. Make them incremental. So break it down into bite-sized pieces, and you're more likely to be motivated to be able to achieve it if you achieve the small ones with something that is gained towards the big one. It also helps with that sense of accomplishments, and it allows you to tackle the bigger challenges ahead as well. So incorporating variety and fun. Here's our Rocksteady Boxers Halloween last year. Yes, we do like to have lots of fun. It helps to keep us all motivated, helps to keep us engaged, and it helps us to keep going with everything that we want to do, again, with our brain retraining and neuroplasticity. It's enjoyable, and it helps us to, get social interactions. So again, mood is lifted. Get your support system in place as well. So find a buddy. Try and meet up with a neighbor to go for a walk. Maybe somebody else in one of your exercise classes says, okay, let's go Swimming tomorrow. Let's go dancing next week. Try and find those resources, and Parkinson's Canada is well placed to be able to help you find those community resources. There's also a lot of other charities available that will give you free classes now to get you going. And get yourself an accountability partner. So again, that buddy that you have will make you accountable. You have to go meet that person. It's like, okay, I will go, and you will more than likely feel better once you actually continue that exercise. Okay, we have a conclusion. So we're going to, again, put everything together. The importance of exercise, it enhances the brain-body connection. It does slow progression of the disease. It maintains your independence. It provides social interactions. There's mood regulation and gut health. You also have physiotherapy-led exercises, which are targeted treatments for you specifically, particularly the PD warrior, which is 3 different types: your bradykinesia, your agility impaired, or your tremor dominance. There's teaches life management skills. So we can teach you how to manage some of your symptoms for yourself so that you can go ahead and be part of a bigger group. It does slow progression. It restores your neurons, and then you have neuroplasticity. It also reduces your risk of falls, and it improves posture, while also aiding injury recovery as well, so that we can keep you going for as long as we possibly can. So by understanding all of the science, understanding how the exercise works on the brain, we can put everything together and try and get the best outcome and the best quality of life for you. Okay, that was 32 minutes, Donna. I think I did well with that. Again, I know that there's going to be lots of questions. We will answer them once Donna opens that out for us today.
Thanks so much. That was so much great information, and we've got tons of questions. So we are going to get right to some of them now. All right, let's get right to the questions. Okay, so Orla, we've had lots of questions that were submitted about just how much exercise is required and at what intensity, and how much does a person's age factor into your answer?
Exercise is important no matter where you are in your journey or what age you are. I don't think of anybody's age. I think about how they actually are when they present in front of me. You do need to do some form of exercise every single day. Parkinson's does not take a day off, and you need to be able to adapt and change how you feel on that day. And that depends on how your medication is that day or whatever other issues may be happening. If you didn't sleep well, if your gut is bad, you're not going to want to exercise. Let's adapt and change. What are we going to do to try and help you to achieve that?
Great. Also, some folks have been asking about conserving energy for the other tasks that they do for their daily living. How far should they, quote unquote, push themselves when they're exercising?
That depends on what you want to do on the day. What is your goal for the day? Are you going to, what is your plan? Do you need to adapt what you're going to do so you can have enough energy throughout that day? You can adapt your exercise. So whether you are going to do something that is high energy, but then later on you need to be social and go out, but you're not going to have enough energy to do both, adapt it. Do your stretching, your flexibility, and your other exercises first thing in the morning, and then give yourself enough of a break so that you can do something later on in the afternoon or the evening. It's very dependent on you. It depends on how your medication is on that day. And you're going to have to, again, as Duncan said, change your plan.
Right.
But have something in your toolbox that you can pull on every single day, depending on what it is. Now, I do say try do something, even if it's 2 minutes worth. We use smoothie rings, which are super important, like these little things. 2 minutes of that is not tiring, but it activates you enough to actually get you started and to get you going. You do need to do a minimum of 20 minutes of exercise, generally, to get the dopamine flowing. of the higher intensity exercises as well. But again, it depends on what you need to do for the rest of the day. If you can't do that, that's fine. Give yourself a break. Don't be hard on yourself if you can't do it on that particular day. It's okay. We're not going to get mad with you. I'm not going to get mad at you. You'll get mad at yourself. It's not, give yourself a break. It is okay to adapt and change.
Great.
But
Thank you,
again, it's
Duncan.
your toolbox. What's in your toolbox?
Great. Duncan, do you have anything you want to add about how you stay active when you don't have energy?
Oh, well, if my wife was in the room, she'd say that never happens to him. but there are, yeah, I've always been kind of an Energizer bunny. But on days when I'm feeling off or I don't want to do as much, I find that morning routine, that stretching, the Tai Chi yoga, that gets me going. I think similar to what Orla was saying, is it gets the neurons going. And that allows me to find something to do. Worst case scenario, I'm really like I went through a really bad flu last winter. Just getting up and getting outside and walking to the end of my lane and back, that at least was doing something. So I find nature really helpful too. So getting out in nature, music, it's something to inspire you. So that's really individual.
Yeah, great advice. Orla, we've had a lot of questions about very specific forms of exercise. People are asking about tango, tai chi, rebounding, pickleball, high intensity interval exercises, and running. So are some forms more beneficial than others? And when you're talking about those high intensity types of exercises, some people are worried that that might put them at a higher risk of injury. What have you got to say about, those types
You're
of
right.
concerns?
It can put you at a higher risk of injury if you do high intensity exercises. But if you do it in a controlled manner, it's not to actually injure yourself. It's a way of getting your brain activated to get the dopamine cells going. If you do it under the supervision of a physio, you will know what to do for yourself. Is one more important than the other? I think it just depends on what you're going to do motivation wise. Is pickleball going to get you motivated to get out and be social? Then continue with your pickleball. You don't have to end up doing rock steady boxing, or you don't have to do any of the PD warrior. That's not the important thing. It's important to what you want to be able to do. And it again, you do need to be mindful of what you want to be able to achieve out of that exercise as well. So something like your stretching, your rigidity is really bad. Are you going to be able to improve your rigidity by doing a pickleball? Maybe not. Maybe it's the Tai Chi, maybe it's the yoga that's going to help you to engage your parasympathetic system to help relax some of the muscles and get that stretch and flexibility going. So again, it depends on what you need. And everybody's different. So everybody's going to choose a different type of exercise that suits them. But whatever they can do, or whatever you can do, and whatever group you want to be able to achieve, and whatever's in the community close to you too. So it really does depend on a lot of different factors.
Thank you. Duncan, do you have a schedule for all the different kinds of activities that you do? And how do you pick what you're doing day by day?
Yeah, I have somewhat of a schedule. I want something every day. I like variety. I play pickleball, and the people who play pickleball, that community is very tight, and they want me to play it 4 or 5 times a week. But in the wintertime, once or twice is about all I can handle. I also play hockey in the winter. I snowshoe. This time of year, the schedule I like to do is I have stuff to do on the property, so chores. I love to cycle and I love to kayak. The great thing about cycling and kayaking is they focus mainly on one part of the body. My lower body is doing most of the work when I'm cycling. So I will alternate between cycling and kayaking from day to day. So if I cycled on Monday, then I'm kayaking Tuesday, weather permitted. And I'll alternate that way so part of my body gets to rest. Same thing with the chores. It depends, like I described earlier, about going up and down ladders or up and down the stairs. Like right now, I'm building a new kayak rack down by the lake. That's 34 stairs, 34 stairs down, 34 stairs up every time I cut a new piece of wood and take it down. So I wouldn't cycle on a day I'm doing that, because that's a lot of legs all day long, and that's going to result in tomorrow I'm not going to feel very good in my legs. I might be sore. That can affect other things. Then I can't do the activities I wanted to do tomorrow. So that's the way I kind of schedule it. I was going to, if I can have a minute to talk about what Orla was saying a minute ago, the high intensity stuff. I find hockey. I love hockey. I still want to play hockey. I only do it once a week in the winter. It's by far the most strenuous on my body, and it takes the longest to recover because you've got your legs doing something completely opposite from your upper body. What I've done is I communicated to the guys I play hockey with that I have Parkinson's. Initially, I hid it because I didn't want people to treat me like a charity case on the ice. But I shared it with them, and I said, there will be times when, I'll fall like I tripped over the blue line. And they understood. And I said, I'm going to have on my water bottle on the bench, this little pill bottle. And what it's got is my medication, because my hockey runs into when I normally would. So rather than putting myself at a deficit, if I just stop, take my meds, then I can keep playing along. So communicating that helped. So the day after I play hockey, I don't do anything really intense, a little bit more moderate, because my body needs to recover from it.
And,
So
doing hockey is amazing, but not everybody is going to be able to get on skates and actually do that, which is fine. There's a lot of adaptations that you can do when you do exercise. So you don't have to be on your feet. You don't have to do all of these high intensity things. You can do a lot of seated exercises and get the same benefit. But you need to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. And there's a lot of Parkinson's related classes now available. Do check in your community as well to actually be able to do that, or even your senior centers. If there's nothing around and you need to be able to exercise, join a class, join your senior center, do your seated classes. It's a good start.
Yeah, lots of YouTube videos on that as well, so that you can do at home.
Yeah, I think what you're both saying is that variety and adaptability for your exercise choices is really important, not only for your physical health, but also that social aspect of for your cognition and just being out in the community. It's all important too, right?
Correct. I mean, you have to be adaptable with the exercises because you have to be so rigid with your medication. So it's like, okay, if you can be adaptable in some form in your life, use the exercise, but do something that, again, your toolbox, what you going to have in your toolbox, and that you can pull out as you need to.
Okay, thank you. There's a specific question about exercise and medication. So a few people have asked, if you're exercising and you take Parkinson's medication, does that exercise deplete your Parkinson's medication that's available in your body? Or if it's increasing the amount of dopamine for a while, is it possible that maybe they don't need to take a top-up dose of their usual levodopa when they're doing their exercise?
That's the multi-million-dollar question for a lot of people. The current research is it's still open to interpretation on what actually happens to the dopamine when you do these high intensity exercises. Whether it is the energy in your mitochondrial cells is actually depleted, or whether it's the dopamine is actually gone, is hard to say. Whether you have your medication on board while you start is a good option, because you'll get more out of the exercise itself. You're not pushing yourself so much to try and get dopamine flowing without medication on board if you don't have it. So when it's on board, it's going to be a lot easier. Whether it depletes your own store of medication, I don't know. I'm going to say it's a very big discussion, and that's probably something that you need as a separate webinar, and you can ask the scientists about that one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Through my lived experience with it, it's getting myself to take more medication to allow me to do the things I love to do was a battle for my family doctor and my neurologist with me, because I was the type that thought if I have to take medication, that's a negative, that, I'm getting worse. They told me that because of my high activity level, that I'm benefiting more if I have the medication on board, as Orla said, so that I can do the things I love to do and do that physical activity and that exercise, because that's benefiting me more. And that's going to get me more in the future. But it doesn't, on a day where I'm not doing as much, I wouldn't take as much. I don't need as much, but I take it on board with me. Like when I go for bike rides, I have a little bottle, and if I need it, if I feel my symptoms coming back on and I'm still 10 kilometers away from home, take a half a pill. It'll get me there. It'll get me there safely, and I'll enjoy my ride.
Great.
Again,
So
everybody's different about this.
Yes.
Everybody is so different. Some people feel really depleted and need an extra top up.
Mm-hmm.
Others don't.
Yeah, we've already
That's
gone
talking to
a
your
little bit over.
neurologist. Yeah.
We've already actually gone a little bit over time. Are you okay to stay on for a couple extra minutes to get to a few key questions?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, so we've gotten questions from people with Parkinson's and their care partners about apathy and not being motivated to exercise. Briefly, do you have any advice for someone who is either apathetic themselves or their partner's apathetic?
Yeah, apathy, motivation, and depression all kind of come hand in hand, and the anxiety can come in hand. Sometimes when it gets to a point in somebody's life, if you're not able to go out and be social or leave your house or do something, then you need to speak to your neurologist about getting some medication to try and help you get beyond that a little bit and give you that little bit of a push to get out the door in the first place. If you can start to get into a routine, you actually end up feeling like you miss the exercise, and you're more likely to end up going out once you get into the routine. It is really difficult to get going from that very first moment. And I always say, try and maybe get a friend or a family member maybe coming into the house to try and help your partner to get going. And then as a caregiver, you're not the one pushing them to say, you have to exercise, you have to exercise. Because that changes the relationship dynamic a little bit. Somebody's more likely to say yes to a friend than yes to a family member sometimes. And it can help you just to get that first step. And then again, as I said before, use your goals. Is there a goal that you really want to be able to achieve? And that you can look back at it as a journal so that you know where you were or where you want to go. And then that can help you to go as well.
Okay, Duncan, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, the whole variety piece. Using the key word for me is enjoyment. Trying something, not just trying one thing and, oh, I'm not sure about it. Try a variety of things. You don't know what you're going to enjoy until you do it. And sometimes it's often the people who are there with you, the community, that make the activity fun and enjoyable. And if this is the old teacher / personal trainer in me talking, but if you enjoy it, you're more likely to do it. And variety is also important so that anything can get stale. So have transition to something else when you get bored.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to combine several people's questions into one. We've got a lot of people that are asking about high intensity exercise and like the impact of like the foot on the ground. Is that better, or is it better for someone with Parkinson's to exercise in a pool? Some people are saying they've heard that it's better, and some people are saying that it's not as good because you're not having that impact from the ground. Orla, have you got any advice about best ways or places to exercise, whether a pool's better?
That depends. Again, each exercise has it does, because each exercise has a different type of parameter. It has a different type of goal of what you're going to achieve by doing that exercise. When you're in the water, you have buoyancy. So the water helps to support you when you are there. You're not going to get that weight bearing down, but maybe you actually can move your limbs and your joints a little bit more when you're in the water. But then you can use the water for your resistance. So you can push a little bit more, okay? And you don't feel it. So you are working out cardiovascularly, you're working out a little bit harder without you even realizing it. If you're on the ground, again, there is different parameters happening again. You have gravity that's going to be pushing down on you, on your joints. And then yes, you do have that ground. You have that ground force coming up through your foot into the spinal and then up into your brain. So it's got different sensory parameters of what you're going to be using in different areas of the brain that you're going to be firing up. It depends on what you want to achieve out of a ground exercise to a pool exercise. And again, it's variety. You know, some people will say this really works for them. It's like, great, stick with it. And other people are like, I don't want to get into the water. It's getting wet. It's getting out of the swimsuit. It's drying off. It's like, I can't get my care partner in there. It's just too difficult and it's exhausting. Like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to do that. It's always just give yourself a break about what you want to achieve. If it works, it works. Stick with it. Well done. It's, you know, again, other people are going to say that dancing works for them. Great, stick with the dancing. And again, it's motivating. It's got that music. It's going to fire up your vestibular system a little bit differently and your auditory, sensory inputs, right? It's going to be very different that way. All exercises are going to fire up your body and your brain in a different way. It depends on what you want to achieve and what you can actually achieve on that day too. It's a toolbox.
Great. Okay, one last question, because I know a lot of people with Parkinson's, sometime in their journey, they're going to experience a fall and they might get injured and have to, you know, not exercise or, you know, have forced rest for a while. So they're worried that, you know, that old adage of use it or lose it for someone with Parkinson's, how dangerous would you consider that forced period of rest in terms of progression of their symptoms?
If somebody is injured, you need to adapt. You can, maybe if you've injured a hip or your knee, you've had a knee replacement, maybe you can do seated exercises instead. Is it dangerous? No, it's not dangerous, but you might feel a little bit more of that stiffness and rigidity coming in. It's a little bit harder to get going. The longer that you leave it without moving at all. I would say try and get into your care team, meet with a physio to adapt you and to maybe change the exercises that you were doing so that we can keep you moving as much as you possibly can, however possible that may be, whether it is on the bed, whether it's on the chair, whether it's standing in a pool, whatever it may be. Try and do it early so that that injury doesn't become a major problem and then really slow you down. So I'm saying earlier the better. For any injury, for any newly diagnosed, try and just start your journey as early as possible.
Great, great. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone for asking those really thought-provoking questions. And on behalf of Parkinson Canada and our viewers, I really want to thank both of you, Duncan and Orla, for sharing your stories and your advice and for staying on a bit of extra time to get to some of these many questions that we've had. I hope everyone will watch your email inboxes for the follow-up email that we'll send that will include a link to a recording of this webinar and any resources or other links mentioned here today. We also hope that you will join us for our next 2 webinars, both taking place on Wednesday, October 8th. They are both Ask the Expert sessions. During the first session at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll have an occupational therapist on hand to answer questions about activities of daily living, home safety, mobility, ways to maintain your independence, and more. Then during our second session at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, your questions about how medications work, side effects, medication management, and much more will be answered by a pharmacist. So watch your email inboxes for more details and the 2 registration links. And lastly, when this webinar window closes, I hope you'll take one moment to fill out our short survey. It helps us plan programming that's relevant to you. On behalf of all of us at Parkinson Canada, I want to thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and see you next month. Take care.